Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of Top End Track Talk. I'm Andrew O'Toole, and today we'll be previewing this coming Friday afternoon's fixture here at Fanny Bay, which will be the 16th of April. Had to check that, 16th of April it is. This will be the last of the 7 Friday fixtures held in Darwin during the months of February, March and April. And while the numbers this week are again on the light side, the twilight meetings have overall been very successful, with good crowds on course and at Silks Darwin to cheer on their fancies. As mentioned, numbers are again limited with the Alice Springs Cup Carnival in full swing, but 5 races will be the order of the day on Friday, with 4 5-horse fields and 1 6-horse field, the first, the biggest of the day. Racing gets underway at the late afternoon time of 3:51 p.m. with the last time to go at 5:52. So it's a 2-hour window and we'll get the 5 races in with about half-hour intervals between each. The opener is the Silks Darwin Trobus Maiden for the non-winners, and in the first my numbers are 5, 4 and 6. He gets his chance to break through. Number 5, Legs 11, trained by Chris Pollard, and Barry Huppets as normal takes the mount. He's had 11 starts for a second and 2/3 in his career, and his last 3 starts have been certainly improved efforts, a 4th, a 3rd, and then a good second last time out, I thought, behind Hajime Naoki, who's put a couple back to back. That was 1,100 metres. The step up to 1,300, I don't think will worry this horse. Seems to finish off his races pretty strongly. So I think he can get the chocolates on Friday. Number 5 on top, Legs 11. From number 4, Underworld. This horse trained by Chris Nash. Good to see Nashy with a very impressive winner here a week ago in May Amin. And there'll be more wins in store for that filly, I'm sure. But Underworld, similarly, racing pretty well. His last couple of runs have been good, including last time out when 3rd over 1,600 metres behind Captain Apollo. So that was in 0 to 64 grade, really dropping back in grade. Probably the question mark is the drop back in trip. This horse really looks like he wants 1,600 metres plus, coming back to the 1,300, but he has the services of Jared Todd, and with Nashi now on the board, it wouldn't surprise to see this horse back up and give him 2 wins in a week. And in for 3rd, number 6, Princess de Jour. Vanessa Arnott aboard for Jason Manning. Just had the 2 starts in Darwin for a couple of 5th placings. Didn't mind the run last time behind Hajime Naoki. Going up in trip, I think, will probably suit this 3-year-old filly, and I think she can get some of the money in the first. My numbers in the opener are 5, 4 and 6. The seconds are Renew Your Membership Handicap. You want to be doing that with the carnival just around the corner here in Darwin. It's over 1,300 metres as well. It's a benchmark 54, and the numbers here are 1, 3 and 2. Going with number 1, Choice Approach. He won here last week, so backing up pretty quickly from that winning effort, and that was his first run since Catherine way back on the 15th of August. So good training performance, and well done to Tom Harrower, who puts the polish on Choice Approach. He's won 4 times this horse now. He's going up in trip from the 1,200 the other day to the 1,300. That won't worry him. Same grade. The quick backup's probably the only question mark, but he was good the other day, and I don't see any reason why he can't go another good race here. 1 on top to beat number 3, With Pleasure, from the Phil Cole stable. Wayne Davis in the saddle. Drops in grade from his last start effort behind Hustle and Humph in 0 to 64 company. Prior to that, had won over 1,200 in benchmark 54. So racing pretty consistently With Pleasure, and must be hard to beat. And in for 3rd, number 2, Kowloon Kid. Gary Clark trains. Kimmy Gladwin in the saddle. I've said many times I can't catch this horse, but he's racing pretty well. His last couple of runs have been 3rds. One was 1,300, one was 1,600. Drops back in trip, but you have to include him for sure. 1, 3 and 2 in the second. The 3rd's the carnival tickets on sale now. Handicap, it's 1,100 metres, this one, for the 0 to 58 gallopers. 4, 1, 2 for me in this. The return to racing of number 4, Don't Say It, trained by Gary LaFoe, and Jason Lyon visiting from Victoria again. He's riding actually here in Darwin on Friday, and also in Alice Springs on Saturday is Grasshopper, and takes them out here on Don't Say It. Was really impressive, this horse, winning its first start on the 14th of November, bolted up that day. Forget the second run, the bridle went right through the horse's mouth, so was pulled up basically on the run, but did disappoint last time out on the 2nd of January. Gary's given the horse a break since then, and it only has to reproduce its first up win from last November, and it'll be very hard to beat here. So I'm prepared to take it on top, number 4. Ahead of number 1, Captain Hedwick. He's the obvious toughest to beat. Jared Todd for Gary Clark. Raced in Darwin about 5 times. He's hardly ever been out of the money. His last 4 starts, 3 seconds and a third, and also a fourth the start before that. He's had a little bit of a freshen up, Captain Hedderwick, and I think he'll be the toughest for Don't Say Yet to beat. And in for third, number 2, Cuban Mint. Vanessa Arnott for Jason Manning. Is a last start winner, won here on the 12th of December, hasn't started since. That was an effort when beating Recording to win, so that was pretty good form, and not a bad type, Cuban Mint, putting it into run third. 4, 1 and 2 in the third. The fourth's the Ladbrokes Handicap over the 1,000 metres, 0 to 70 this one, and once again a field of 5 here, but a couple of handy sprinters engaged here, going with the numbers of 1, 3 and 2. Vunavalu for me on top, number 1. First up since the 12th of December, but he has had a trial just a couple of weeks back, and he trialled really well that day behind Mayamine. Now, we saw what Mayamine did to them last week, made them look second rate, and Vunavalu has won fresh before. He's won at the Trip before, and I think if he puts his game face on, he'll be very hard to beat. Number 1, Vunavalu on top for me. Ahead of number 3, Torchbearer, his stablemate, also from the Phil Cole stable. John Keating coming to ride on Saturday with Alice Lindsay on the injured list, or the quiet list, for a couple of weeks. Alice had that a nasty incident at the gates last week and gave herself a little bit of concussion. Pleased to say she's pretty good. I dare say she will, all going well, be back riding on race day on the 24th of April. So just a couple of weeks off for Alice. John's coming to ride this one for Phil Cole, Torchbearer. Pretty good rider, John. He's also riding Alice Springs on Saturday. Racing really well, Torchbearer, his last 3 starts. Second to Papalette, third to Smuggling, and second to Papalette. That's really good form for a race like this. Certainly the hardest for his stablemate Vunavalu to beat. And in for third, number 2, Patriot Day, was a winner 2 starts back for the Clark stable. Kimmy Gladwin goes aboard. He's had 2 wins over this trip. Last start effort was a little disappointing behind Pasito, but as I say, as a winner 2 starts back and must be respected. 1, 3 and 2 in the fourth. And the last, the Philly Fridays Handicap. So it's the last of the Friday meetings, as we mentioned. Been about 7 of them over the last 3 months. This is the last of them. This one over 1,600 metres, the benchmark event, so the highest grade race of the day, dominated by 2 trainers, Emma Steele with 2 runners, and Nicole Brueggemann. Nicole from South Australia, she's had her team in Alice Springs, but she's made the trip to Darwin with a number of runners for Friday, so we wish her all the best. Probably just as well she's here, or the meeting would have been in some jeopardy, because we have those little fields again. But my numbers in the last, 2, 1 and 5. I'm going with Emma to head Nicole off in the last, but I don't think there'll be a lot in it. Skeldak for me, number 2. Jared Todd aboard. Really good third last time out behind I Am the Fox. That was the 26th of March. I Am the Fox, of course, had won the St Pat's Cup the start before. It was one of the pre-post favourites for the Alice Springs Cup, I Am the Fox. So Skeldak, that was a mile last time. A mile again, only has to reproduce that effort. It'd be very hard to beat. 2 on top. To beat one of Nicole's, number 1, Stealthy Lucas, been racing well in Alice Springs. Had a win down there, and then a second last time out behind the very, very talented Ash Gray. We know how good he is. He won an Alice Springs Cup, of course, and third in the Darwin Cup last year. Jessie Philpott takes them out. She's coming to Darwin for 5 rides on Friday, so it'll be good to see her back here. And in for third, number 5, Extolment, the second of Emma's 2. Racing in tremendous form. Has won his last 2 Extolment. 1 over a mile, 1 at the 1,300. He steps back up to the mile here, and Wayne Davis in the saddle is going up in trip and also up in grade, but racing really well. 2, 1 and 5 in the last. Couldn't come up with any roughies on Friday due to the small field, so 2 best bets on the day. And they come up in race 4, number 1, Vunavalu. Race 4, number 1, Vunavalu. I think he can make a successful return to winning form, fresh up. And race 5, number 2, Skeldak. Race 5, number 2, Skeldak. Racing well, the mile should suit, and Emma Steele's little team going super well. Well, that wraps up this edition of Topic and Track Talk, but we'll be back again same time next week in advance of the Anzac Day fixture, which this year will be run actually on the 24th of April. That's the Saturday, with Alice Springs having the actual Anzac Day date of the 25th of April. That's the Sunday meeting. So we'll be back here next week in advance of the Saturday, and until then, good luck and good punting.